How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you here?
That's difficult to answer.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.
this the end? There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? Oh, I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final time. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to be out you.
Won't anybody help us? What are we running for? When there's nowhere we can run to anymore. We can't afford to be innocent. Stand up and face the enemy. It's a do or die situation. We will be invincible. And with the power of conviction, there is no sacrifice. It's a do or die situation. We will be invincible.
Who the fuck is Karlyn? She's just some sweet lady. She's like in a knitting. She does like a knitting stream. She's like a knitting YouTuber. She does knitting.
Can we grow up a little bit and
Alt
not
Girl
be
sent $200.
retarded?
Have you
Please.
seen the work of Karlyn Borysenko? Anti-commie cult leader and is obsessed with looking at what actual far-left communists are talking about and organizing today, infiltrating them. They infiltrated the universities, schools, media. She has the receipts to back it up. Primary source evidence. Infestation is dire and she calls Republicans idiots eating slop. Agree.
Thank you for the big super chat. Yeah, oh, I know Karlyn B. She's solid. She's funny. I
The
like
great
her.
noticer sent $200.
Literally.
So
not
it's,
Ian.
it's not a because
Yeah.
I haven't dangled my junk into the combat zone on purpose to get some camera footage, but that's the big part of what's the
Is
problem.
that what you call reporting?
Go
and live
under if
streaming?
you're going to do it.
Yeah,
go
seriously.
undercover. Otherwise, you're wearing a hunk of meat in a lion's den. Nick Shirley, I love you. Take care of yourself, man. Karlyn Borysenko went undercover. Do stuff like that. Like if you want to expose this thing, don't pariah.
But
Please.
Ian, here's and I, agree with you to an extent.
I watch these streams, and I've been watching a self-professed fascist named Karlyn, who drinks and basically roasts these live streams. But weirdly, she has apparently embedded herself with Antifa before, and so it's such a funny stream because like,
So they tolerate her?
oh no, not anymore. She like, no. She's like, I mean, I don't know if she's trolling or not, but on her stream, she's like, I am a fascist.
Right.
So she's proudly proclaiming she's a fascist. I don't know how much of that is trolling, how much of it is real, but conservatives who are drawn to her stream will say things like, these people are funded by George Soros. And it's the funniest thing because she gets so mad. And she's like, get off fucking Fox News. Stop watching that shit. It's all wrong. Do these people look funded? Do these people look like they have money? They're not funded. It's so, and I guess her bigger point is by saying these are funded agitators and not saying what they actually are, which is anti-capitalist revolutionaries, you dilute what's really happening. Because what's really happening, according to her, and I think a fair amount of people, is that the economy is so fucked. The middle class is diminishing so much. The cost of living is so high that this is the perfect soil you need if you wanted communism to grow anywhere.
I'm muted. What's up, everyone? What's up? How's it going? Happy Tuesday. I can't believe it's Tuesday. And I can't believe it's Tuesday because I have to get on a plane tomorrow. And I'm not packed. I have nothing put together. I don't even have my return flight booked. I don't even know. I am getting on a plane tomorrow and I don't even know when I'm coming home. It could be weeks. It could be months. No, it won't be months. It definitely won't be months. But I will be gone for at least a week and a half. I'm going on an adventure. I'm not going to tell you exactly where I'm going. I'm not going to tell you when I'm going to be there. But I'm going on an adventure starting this week, and I want to tell you guys that up front. And I will be streaming while I'm gone. I will absolutely be streaming while I'm gone. I just don't know exactly when. And so if you want to make sure that you are notified when I'm streaming, first of all, please make sure you are subscribed on YouTube or on Rumble or wherever else. Make sure you have notifications turned on, but also make sure you follow the Telegram channel. It's t.me/decodetheleft. Telegram is where I post notifications when I go live on the internet. So it'll get sent right to your phone if you set it up that way. So you can have a notification anytime I go live, whether that be at the normal time or whether that be later in the evening or whether that be any time at all. And so so that is going to be, the schedule is going to be a little haphazard, but I am going to be trying to bring you guys as much content from the road as I can. I actually think it's going to be a pretty great adventure. And, you know, I'll get home eventually. I just don't know exactly when I'm going to get home. I don't know. We're going to have to see. We're going to have to see how much you guys continue to send in super chats and subscriptions and stuff from the road. That might directly dictate how long I stay on the road. We'll see. Also, I do have to check with my husband at some point. My husband is going to eventually want to know when I'm coming home. You know, I have this weird relationship with my husband. My husband is awesome. Our 14-year anniversary is coming up. I don't want anyone to think like I don't respect my husband and all that, but like my husband and I lead kind of like weird lives in that we operate very much as single people who happen to be married. And so I travel by myself like all the time just without him, and he's totally fine with that because he doesn't like traveling. And so like I'll ask him sometimes people will say to me, they're like, Karlyn, are you going to bring Victor on this trip? And I'm kind of like, yeah, I probably should ask Victor if he wants to come on this trip. And then I ask him and he's like, fuck no. So that's okay. That's okay. I'll do it myself. Yeah, it's called trust. That's exactly right. It's called trust. My husband and I have a functional relationship where we don't need to be together all the time. And we trust each other, and damn is the sex good when I come home. I'm just saying, like, it's just like absence makes the heart grow fonder is a real thing. So it is what it is. Anyway, welcome to the stream, guys. Hey, I'm sure there's not going to be yelling on today's stream like there was yesterday. In fact, I think the yelling on today's stream might be even worse than yesterday. Yeah, I got to spend that Soros money. Exactly. We got to spend that Soros money. Exactly. Well, I keep hearing from conservatives that I'm a secret Soros funded Antifa because I keep telling them that Soros doesn't fund Antifa. And so like the conservatives, like, you guys don't see it because I delete them and I ban them from the channel when they do this, but you guys should see how many comments I get from conservatives saying, Karlyn, we know you're secret Antifa that's really funded by George Soros to throw us off the tracks. This is actually a real thought that occurs to conservatives. I am secret Antifa that's funded by Soros. I got to spend that Soros money somehow. You're right. You guys got me. You figured me out. I'm a secret Antifa, George Soros funded trick to play on the conservative right. That's exactly what's going on here. Yep, you got me. You got me. Yep, secret Antifa. Exactly. I'm secret Antifa. Exactly. Anyway, I'm sure that I'm not going to be yelling more today on the stream than I was yesterday, but well, no, that's absolutely not going to happen. I'm absolutely going to be yelling on today's stream. Soros super chat. I'm absolutely going to be yelling on today's stream because, you know, I was going to watch something different today. And then I pulled up my YouTube recommendations and there was Timmy Tim Tim right at the top of my YouTube recommendations because, of course, Timmy Tim Tim is talking about Antifa because that's what's in the news. And I saw this video and the title of this video and I'm just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Tim Pool posted a video earlier today. Antifa is done. FBI launches probe. Glenn Beck exposes NGOs. Liberals panic. So according to the brilliance of Timmy Tim Tim, Antifa is over. They've been defeated by Glenn Beck and his chalkboard. It's okay, guys. You know, really, there's no reason for me to even get on a plane tomorrow. There's no reason for me to even get on a plane because Antifa is over. Glenn Beck has defeated the left. Excellent reporting, Timmy Tim Tim. Excellent on the ground journalistic integrity reporting, Tim. I just like, you know, what am I even doing anymore? Guys, should I just shut down the YouTube channel? One in the chat, if my work here is done, have we defeated Antifa? Should I just shut down my YouTube channel and call it a day? I can go back to corporate consulting and make much more money than I'm making now. Like one in the chat if I just need to shut down the YouTube channel. Two in the chat if maybe I should keep the YouTube channel running a little bit longer. Let's see what you guys have to say. Oh, yeah, we got some ones. Yeah, we got some people on board with like it's saying, Karlyn, it's time to retire. Don't get on that plane tomorrow. It's retirement time. It's over. Nothing. Oh no, we got a whole bunch of twos now. Oh, we're back. Okay, so I have to keep streaming about the left and studying the left. Yeah, we're basically mission accomplished. Mission accomplished, according to Timmy and Glenn Beck. Mission accomplished. Nothing more to see here. No more Antifa. We did it. We saved the world. So we're going to watch this video today and we're going to talk about it. And, you know, I'm going to say whatever I say. What is the difference between a revolutionary socialist and accelerationist? I do not use the term accelerationist, Pete, so I have no idea where you got that. I would love to be able to answer that for you, but I don't know where you heard that term, so I can't tell you. Revolutionary socialist, as you know, is defined over on decodetheleft.com/map, and you can find the definition of that there, but accelerationist is not a term that I use or something I hear from the far left, so I'm having to have a hard time answering that question, but I do appreciate the super chat. Kyle says, Antifa has literally infected our schools in California. I was at the protests to demand the termination of Gabriel Geip in Notamas back in 2021. Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was outside of Sacramento. I remember that. That was crazy. Why do you torture us with Timmy? Have mercy, Karlyn, have mercy. Well, guess what, Illustration Station? Just because you sent me a $20 super chat, we have not one Tim Pool video today, but we also have two because Tim also did a second video. Billionaire warns civil war is here as Antifa riots escalate nationwide with Arun McIntyre. Now, Arun McIntyre I find to be an intellectually dishonest shill and grifter on a good day. I don't think Arun McIntyre is smart. I don't think he's insightful. I don't think he understands the left. I think that he is a milquetoast fence sitter, which is probably why he gets along with Tim so well. But Arun McIntyre is an intellectually dishonest dickwad. I don't really care what he has to say. But we're gonna maybe watch this video. Maybe I'm putting this video up for the maybe. It all depends on how long it takes us to get through the first video and how pissed off I am at the end of the first video. That is going to dictate whether or not we watch the second video because, it seems relevant, but I also don't like Arun McIntyre. I think he's an asshole. So I don't know if I want to watch him, but we'll see. We'll see how the day goes. Tayton says, here's some money for you, Queen. Don't worry. We love Victor too. Well, I'm glad everyone loves my husband and he appreciates that as well. So before we get into it, guys, couple quick things. Of course, if you want to support the work I'm doing, exposing and decoding the far left and teaching you guys about it with every waking hour that I have, please head over to the Substack. That is Karlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. This is my primary content hub on the internet. This is where I post all my best content, my clips. I do exclusive live streams over on the Substack. So make sure you've downloaded the Substack app. That way you'll get notified when I go live on the Substack. I do much more like pontifications, talking about my ideas behind the left and stuff like that, things I'm thinking about, things I'm doing, things I've experienced doing this type of work. If you want access to that information, the primary place for it is over on the Substack. And if you see fit to fund the work I'm doing, you can do so for $8 a month or $80 a year. I am 100% funded just like by people like you. I do not take any political money. I have no political masters. You will never get a political narrative out of me because my only job is to show up and tell you the truth and to show you the receipts. And that is really all I do. Now, listen, guys, we've had an interesting development because I have been steadily rising in the ranks on Substack in their U.S. politics rising stars section. A couple days ago, I was number 77. And then a couple days after that, I was number 44. And then a couple days after that, I was number 38. And then a couple days after that, I was number 32. And now, check it out. Check it out. Number 17. Number 17 rising in U.S. politics on Substack. We are so close to the top 10. We are so close. We are almost there. And the very best way that you guys can help me break into the top 10 is if you are not yet following my Substack, make sure you subscribe. It is totally free to subscribe. So make sure you're signed up for email updates. And even better, if you have yet to support me on Substack, please make sure you do so because all of those things, email subscriptions and supporters on Substack, that all adds to the rankings in the rising U.S. politics section. So you can see here, look, there are not that many people ahead of me in the rising section. We got a whole bunch of people with purple check marks, meaning they got a lot of paid subscribers. I would love to have a purple check mark someday. I don't yet. But look at all these people. Literally every single one ahead of me. The free press is like a classical liberal thing. That's not even an independent thing. We don't even count that. But like every other thing ahead of me is lefty. There is not a single person on the right ahead of me on this list. And even if we go down the list, there I am at number 17. I'm ahead of Don Lemon. I'm ahead of that person that covers trans issues. I'm ahead of this guy from MSNBC. I'm ahead of God. I never thought I'd outrank God on a poll, but apparently I do. I'm ahead of the 50-51 movement. Those are the people that organize Indivisible. I am ahead of, let's see. Dan Rather. I'm ahead of Andy Borowitz. I'm ahead of, I saw Libs of TikTok on here somewhere. Libs of TikTok is way down the fucking list, man. Way down the list. I'm ahead of Julie Kelly. She's on the right, I guess. Kind of. Anyway, so I'm ahead of a lot of effing people on this list. Stacey Abrams way down at the bottom. So, guys, I would love to stay on this list. I would love to stay at the top of this list. I would love to break into the top 10 of this list. That would be rad. If we broke into the top 10 of this list, that would be awesome. So the very best way that you can help me do that is, again, by signing up for my work over on Substack. That is Karlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. The bare minimum is subscribing for free, which you should all be doing, because that's where you're going to get my best work. That's where you're going to get the archive. That's where you're going to get all that stuff. But if you want to support my work, that's also very much valued and appreciated for $8 a month, $80 a year. And in return for supporting my work, you get access to things like Spy Stream. Spy Stream is when we go inside live leftist trainings and you guys can see what they're teaching live. Now, programming note, I'm not going to tell you what it is. We have a Spy Stream very early tomorrow. We have a Spy Stream. I cannot believe I'm getting up this early. I am doing this before I go to the airport to get on a plane, okay? We are Spy Streaming and then I'm going to the airport. We have a spy stream tomorrow starting at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Now, for those of you who know me, you know that I would rather stab myself in the eye with a knitting needle than get up that effing early. So trust me when I tell you that if I am getting up to do a 9 a.m. spy stream, I think this is going to be a really good spy stream. Now, of course, if you don't want to get up that early, the spy stream will be available on demand after the fact, especially for you West Coast people. I understand that, but I can't change the time of the spy stream. Believe me, if I could, I would. You will be able to access the spy stream later. But this is the type of stuff that we do is we go inside live leftist trainings, and this is at I'm going to give you guys a little preview. This is at a university. Let me be a little bit more specific. This is a training that should not be occurring per the Trump executive orders that is occurring at a taxpayer-funded public university at 9 a.m. Okay? So that's what we're doing tomorrow. We are going to get on video something that for all intents and purposes really shouldn't be happening. It should not be happening per the Trump executive order. And this is not an insignificant university. It's not in Ohio. I will tell you that much. It is not in Ohio. But it is a significant university that you all know the name of. Okay? So that is what we're doing. And the only way to get access to that is by becoming a supporter. Spy streams are open to people who support on Substack, also YouTube channel members, also Twitter subscribers, also local supporters, also Patreon supporters. But my preference, of course, is always Substack. Of course, many of you are YouTube channel members. You will find the link in the community post section tomorrow. That's Eastern time. Everything I do is in Eastern time because I am on the East Coast, at least until tomorrow. Anyway, that's what's going on there. And also just want to remind people over in the Red Menace Supply Company, the Red Menace Supply Company is my merchandise store where it has the coolest anti-communist stuff on the internet. You can find it at redmenacesupply.com. And we have our Halloween limited edition special. Now, these are 4 designs that will only be in the store in the month of October. We've got 2 from last year that came back, the collectivism design and the Marxist Utopia of the Dead. We've got 2 new designs for this year. We've got Communism, the Boot Never Lifts, and Village of the Damned. These are anti-communist designs that are inspired by horror movie posters that I created because I love horror movies, and there's no better time of the year. Halloween is the very best time of the year. So we've got our very best Halloween shirts in the store. These are limited edition, only available in the month of October. And yeah, someone mentioned a sticker pack. You can actually order a sticker pack with all 4 of the designs on it if that's what you want. They also come on pint glasses, tank tops, and t-shirts in different colors. And I actually have this one, and it's awesome, and I wear it all the time. And so check those out in the Red Menace Supply Company. Of course, all purchases do go to support the work I'm doing, and I really appreciate that. All right. Time to get serious. Time to get serious. Time to get serious. Tim is telling us that Antifa is dead. Antifa is over. Glenn Beck has saved us all. And so maybe we should just see if that's true. Let me see. I got a couple of more super chats before we get started. So where are you going? When are you getting there? When are you coming home? I can't tell you, Murphy's Pool. These are mysteries that will remain, but I appreciate the super chat. Karlyn, I commented on this video from Tim. I was not nice. And someone just replied to my comment, Christ is king, the mentality of conservative. Yeah, Tolkien fan, real. I appreciate the super chat. The goal is to make the Free Press number 2. Wouldn't that be something? Well, the Free Press just sold out to CBS News, so I don't know if we'll get there, but I still think we can get me into that top 10, which will be awesome. All right. I need everyone to mount the like button for me. If you don't feel like mounting the like button, you can give the like button a high five. You can put your arm around the like button. You can give the like button a kiss on the cheek. You can give the like button a slap on the ass. You can do whatever you want to the like button, but I need to see those likes come up. I need everyone to make sure they're subscribed to the channel. And I'm going to light up an anxiety stick because obviously this video is going to cause me a fair amount of anxiety. But, we're going to do our job. It is my job to cover the far left, and it is my job to cover when grifters on the internet are lying about the far left. And so, okay, let's just do it. I'm just dawdling at this point. Okay, we're doing it. We're doing it live, whatever.
Single year in the summer. We call it riot season because for some reason, there is a coordinated group of individuals that know when to kick things off. This could range from the local.
So Tim's position right off the top, hang on. Tim's position right off the top is that the attacking of the ICE facilities has just started. Tim. I feel like I need to do this every single time I cover a conservative retard talking about these issues. Tim, of course, is a liberal. He's not a conservative retard. But I feel like I need to bring this up literally every single time I look at someone like Tim covering this issue. Tim, the riots didn't just start. I knew about this in January. Antifa has been attacking the ICE facilities since January. I covered this in fucking January. Of course, no conservative commentators have covered this. I covered this literally the day after Donald Trump got inaugurated. How Antifa plans to fight Trump's deportations. This is a detailed outline describing exactly how they are going to attack the ICE facilities because they have been attacking the ICE facilities since January, you beanie-wearing retard. But no, according to Tim, this is just riot season and it's just kicked off. No, Tim, you're several months behind on this one, bro. Several months.
Every single year in the summer, we call it riot season because for some reason, there is a coordinated group of individuals that know when to kick things off. This could range from the local to the national and even the international in terms of how they are supported and how they function. But there is a riot function. There is an organization that we call Antifa. Antifa is a proper noun. It refers to various groups that work together, that are organized, coordinate, travel internationally, set up protests and riots. They coordinate.
Tim thinks Antifa is bringing in people internationally to protest. No, Tim, you're confused. You're confused because there are many groups involved in the protesting. There is Antifa, which you're going to see in Black Bloc. There are immigrant rights groups, usually Mexican, that are waving Mexican flags and speaking Spanish. Those are different than Antifa, Tim. They are different fucking groups. I wonder how many people have been flown into Portland to protest the ICE facility.
Anti-government action. Now, the media keeps telling us they don't exist, which is a lie. I can break down for you, Andy No could break down for you exactly how these groups function. But they use manipulative language as they often do. Right now in Portland, these far leftists have started buying inflatable animal costumes to look silly intentionally while they're trying to obstruct government action and attack.
Hey, Isa, I accidentally just hid you on the channel. I accidentally just put you in a timeout. I'm sorry, Isa. I didn't mean to do that. I'm taking you out of timeout right now. I didn't mean to ban you. I was trying to ban someone else. I'm very sorry. I accidentally just put you in a timeout, bro. Okay, I was trying to do someone else. I feel so bad. He's such a good member of the channel.
People. They smacked a journalist in the face with a pole, Katie Davis Court. They almost murdered Andy No twice, but now they're not stupid people, and they are coordinated. So what likely happens is when they start getting heat from the press, they are instructed and provided the resources, likely, to purchase these inflatable costumes so that the next time the press comes down, it looks like a big, silly little party with...
Are you shitting me? The press has been covering Antifa. And because the press has been covering Antifa, Antifa was instructed, probably by George Soros himself, to go purchase these inflatable costumes and wear them to the ICE facility. And George Soros provided them all the resources to purchase these inflatable costumes. And that was all the resources they wanted from George Soros. They didn't ask George Soros for vans They didn't ask George Soros for weapons. They didn't ask George Soros for, new clothes or anything like that. It was agreed upon that the resources that George Soros directly was going to provide Antifa when he instructed them to wear the funny costumes, that was all they wanted was a couple of $20 blow-up costumes that you can get on Amazon. Yeah, Timmy. Yeah, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. I mean, I think they're wearing the costumes for a variety of reasons. This isn't, so I should start off by saying this. The costume thing is not something that we see on the far left more broadly. This is something that very specifically started in Portland. Now, you got to understand, there are a couple different factors that I think weigh into this. Now, I could be wrong. I'm speculating here based on everything I know about the far left. Number one, the Portland protests have been going on for over 100 days. So Tim is not correct that the protests just spun up. The Portland one specifically have been going on for well over almost 4 months now, okay? So at some point when the same people are showing up to the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, they're going to get bored after a while. And so they're going to try to entertain themselves and they're going to try to do things that are fun. Wearing a costume is just a way of kind of like giving your middle finger to ICE. It's a way of like thumbing your nose at them. Also, you got to remember, Portland's just a weird, eccentric city in general. So Portland attracts like a lot of like hipster types and like people who are just like a little bit more eccentric, a little bit more creative. I absolutely believe that this is just one of those things where you have a weird city with a weird culture and a weird vibe, and they're doing these protests for like every single day. They're trying to entertain themselves is the thing. And then the guy in the frog got a ton of attention. And here's where we really saw more costumes come out. More costumes didn't come out because George Soros bought the costumes and then instructed Antifa to wear the costumes. That's not what happened. What happened was there was a single guy in a frog costume. Then some videos went viral of the guy in the frog costume. And quite frankly, they were funny as shit. The guy in the frog costume arguing with everyone. If you haven't seen my video of the guy in the frog costume arguing with Tommy, it's the funniest fucking thing. I put a clip on the channel. So this guy in the frog costume started going viral. And so they started getting all this attention because of this guy in the frog costume. Well, what happens next? Because this one guy in the costume is getting all this attention. And by the way, it's October. It's Halloween. I don't know why Tim thinks this is some like Soros deemed thing. It's literally October. It's literally Halloween. So other people start showing up in the costumes, and then they start having a costume dance party, and they're having all sorts of fun. I mean, listen, man, no one is having more fun right now than Antifa protesting in these costumes outside the ICE facility. So just more and more people start getting attracted to these things. More costumes get bought off of Amazon. And it's just like, yeah, like, so Daniel says it's $35 to $60 for one of those costumes on Amazon. We're not talking about, this is like big time. Soros spent a couple $1,000s on all of the costumes there, guys. Soros, big fucking billionaire spending on a couple $1,000s of blow up costumes off of Amazon at an absolute max. So this is just one of those things that I think kind of occurred like a perfect storm of like circumstance of people being bored, it being an eccentric city. They want to give the finger to ICE in the worst way possible. It's funny. Quite frankly, it's really a brilliant strategy because they are winning the information war because of it. And now we're starting to see the costumes spread out to Chicago. Probably will be at the other ICE facilities as well. But it's just like the whole idea that there is some secret dark meeting in a boardroom somewhere where Soros decided that they have to wear the costumes. That's absurd. Like, can we hinge back into the reality in the real world? They found something that made people laugh, that got them a viral attention on the internet, that was entertaining and fun for them, that made the whole experience of protesting. I mean, it's honestly kind of a brilliant fucking thing to make the experience of protesting an ICE facility feel like a fucking rave. That's what Antifa's doing. Do you want to know how Antifa is going to get more people to come protest at the ICE facility? They're going to make it a fun, viral, party-like experience that is going to make them look good because people having fun in costumes just looks fun. It looks like a fun place to be. It's just like it's a brilliant strategy. But to say that this is deemed from on high by Soros, Tim is a fucking retard.
happens is when they start getting heat from the press, they are instructed and provided the resources, likely, to purchase these inflatable costumes so that the next time the press comes down, it looks like a big, silly little party with people dressed like animals. But you know what? Liberals fall for this stuff.
Yeah, Tim literally doesn't realize that normal people like to have fun. Antifa likes to have fun too, Tim. Antifa are still people. Many of them are very young. They like to thumb their nose at the system. They like to be creative. They're very artistic people. They literally are just having fun. This isn't a fucking federal case. Conservative media are acting like a decentralized grassroots movement and being a highly coordinated group are mutually exclusive, but they're not. Well, I'm going to go, I kind of don't agree that it's both. I would not say that they're highly coordinated. I would not characterize it like that. I understand why you are characterizing it like that. I just personally wouldn't characterize it like that. I do not think it's highly coordinated. I think that some groups are coordinating and some groups are not coordinating. And then the groups that want to participate are opting in. But I wouldn't say that makes it a highly coordinated thing. And I think that's kind of confusing to a lot of people. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I understand why you said that. I just don't agree. Yeah, Tim has gone full retard. Yeah. Yeah, I know he was at Occupy. I know. Well, it's all over. Tim wins because he was at Occupy 15 years ago.
Now, I don't think any of that matters for you or I because we are discerning individuals. We had this conversation with Peter Navarro the other day, and he says it's important that Trump play this right because there is a middle ground, and I do not agree. There is a scared ground, but...
Well, hang on, though. Hang on. No Kings is highly coordinated because No Kings is a progressive event. Antifa are communists. Antifa are not progressive. So saying the No Kings protest is coordinated, that has literally nothing to do with Antifa because Antifa is not involved in the coordination of it.
Let's be real. I mean, most people have drawn sides. They know where they are, and they don't care what is true. You can go to a liberal all day and night and show them a video, and they're very, very, very unlikely to change their mind. And it's because the issue with Antifa on the far left and what's going on in this country has nothing to do with what is true or even what these individuals want in government. It has to do with who surrounds them and provides them with resources. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to what we would call the parallel economy. This is when there are two distinct structures operating for which, if you act outside the bounds, you are stripped of your resources. I have explained this for years. I have talked about how geographic hyperpolarization will lead to civil war. This is where we are. Now, it's really easy to understand when it's something like a National Guardsman or an ICE agent lives in California. Donald Trump says, I want you to go and arrest the illegal immigrants. And then the ICE agent says, okay. Then Gavin Newsom says, if you do this, we will arrest you. We're not literally there just yet, but we are looking at Illinois trying to go after ICE agents now, so things are escalating. That is a very obvious parallel economy. And that is, well, it kind of always existed. There's a federal...
Hang on. Karlyn, I'm new to you. Welcome. I wonder if you've done a video presentation of all these points you are making. It's obvious many of us don't know what you know but want to. Okay, so the very best place to start, Rebecca, and you can find this on the YouTube channel as well, but I'm going to show it to you on my Substack. And maybe someone in my chat can put the link to the video on YouTube in the chat. Maybe one of the mods can do that. But if you go to my Substack, Rebecca, go to the How to Speak Socialist section and scroll down, and you're going to find this video. Re-education and anti-communist introduction to the far left. Watch this video. It's about 90 minutes long. In this video, I walk you through dozens of clips from far left trainings. I walk you through the basic things you need to know about the language. This is a great introductory video. Once you're done that, if you want more, you can watch the 4-hour on-demand How to Speak Socialist class. That goes into much greater depth than I'm able to in the 90-minute class. And then if you really want more, you can watch this Introduction to Queer Marxism, but where you probably want alcohol around when you watch that one because that one's kind of weird and dystopian. But those are the resources to get started. I am going to be doing more live classes coming up after my trip. I am going to be doing more training materials. I'm working on more books right now. So I'm working on more materials, but that's what we have for right now. So I hope that helps you out.
And a state. So when you live in California and you're facing threat from government, they could take your home, they could punish your family. You're going to say, listen, the choice is my country or my home. I choose my home. That was the issue in 1861. But what do we have right now before we get to that point where it's to that degree? The parallel economy is literally just, listen, everyone at my job and my boss are liberals, okay? If I come out and say these things, I'm fired. So it doesn't matter if it's true, they're not going to side with you.
So Tim is literally just still existing in 2020 and has not updated any of the knowledge he has about what's going on in the world since 2020. Is that what I'm hearing? Because I feel like I could be listening to this video in 2020 and it would be no different than it is right now.
Because their access to food, shelter, and resources are tied to that moral worldview, whether it's intentional or otherwise. Some people might just work for a locksmith company, and the boss is a raging lib. That's the creation of the parallel economy. Glenn Beck says the FBI came to his house to learn about Antifa.
Yeah.
And he says, Saturday, I got a phone call. And now what's happening is on the other side, they're mocking this. They're saying it's stupid. Well, this is just literally the FBI investigating. Why would they not?
Hey, Tim, do you know that Antifa's actually been mocking it since way before this? Tim, if you went to Crime Think's website, which is the publishing arm of Antifa, you would actually find out. I gotta read that article later. I didn't see that. Tim, if you actually went to Crime Think's website, you would find out that actually in real life, where is it? Antifa has actually been mocking the Trump terrorism designation threats since September 18th. That would be since a month ago, Tim. You think it took Glenn Beck declaring that he had fixed the Antifa problem with the FBI to get Antifa to mock him? No. They have literally been talking about how they don't take this seriously for a month, Tim. This is on their main publishing website. For people who don't know, Crime Think is one of the main publishing arms of Antifa. Crime Think is how they coordinate in a decentralized movement. So people might say, like, if Antifa is a decentralized movement and there are thousands of these cells all over the country, then how do they coordinate in a decentralized movement? They do it by publishing on anarchist websites. They publish on Crime Think. They publish on Anarchist News. They publish on the Anarchist Library. They publish on No Blogs. They publish in these places where all the different anarchist movements are reading and consuming information. This is not an edict from on high. This is not an order coming down from the top. This is simply saying, here is how we are thinking about these things. So Crime Think is one of the most popular websites publishing this sort of material. So it is hugely influential in terms of what people in this particular movement are thinking. And I'm sorry, like, a month ago, Crime Think published a document, and we read it on the channel at the time, basically saying they don't take Trump's terrorism designation seriously. They're going to be protesting more. They're actually emboldened by this. They want people to get involved more. They want more direct actions. They want more of this stuff. So again, late to the party, Tim.
Not investigate a man who's been targeted and sent death threats. Of course they would. They would do the same with Nick Sorter, I believe, probably Andy No. And, well, here we are. Now, I'll say it again. In the Bulwark, they put out this podcast where they're like, oh, there is no Antifa. Well, it's just so strange because they could at least say there is no central.
So Tim is complaining about a liberal podcast saying, ha, 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 there's no Antifa. The Bulwark is liberal, right? I mean, I'm not up on my, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that covering the Democratic Party and complaining about liberals all day is kind of for faggots, if I'm honest about it. Like, I think it's stupid. I think it's and I have an F-word pass. No one get on my ass about saying the F-word. I have gay men that love me that will give me an F-word pass in about especially when I'm using it on Tim. Like, only faggots focus on the Democratic Party. This is a hill I will die on. I'm not. I am not backing down. I do not fucking apologize, okay? But like the Bulwark is the source on Antifa now, Tim. That's what we're saying. Yeah. See, I have a pass. I have an F-word pass. It's okay. Gay men are the engine behind this channel, I promise you.
Antifa cell, but there are numerous Antifa cells that work together in a network. They coordinate, they organize, they share resources, they have financing, they have funding, they have lawyers.
No.
There is
Wrong.
an Antifa.
Wrong.
Then they go, it's just an idea. Well, why are they lying? Like, again, if they wanted to come out and say, listen, there are numerous Antifa cells, we call them. There's New York Antifa, there's Rose City Antifa, those are specific. They recruit, they give out...
Hey, Tim, did you know the vast majority of Antifa cells are not actually called Antifa? You literally, it is shocking to me that these people literally only know the Antifa cells that are called Antifa. Do you know what the name of the Boston Antifa cell is that I got a whole bunch of propaganda from on the Boston Common one day? Does anyone want to take a guess of what the name of the Boston Antifa cell is? And I know this because I met with them in person on the Boston Common and took all their free shit. The name of the Boston Antifa group is MBTA Distro, which is like what they're positioning it as is this is a distribution outlet. A distro is a distribution outlet for propaganda. But are they Antifa? Yes. Do you know how I know they're Antifa? Because they had a giant ass Antifa flag and they were handing out all the Antifa propaganda. So why don't they ever talk about that? It's kind of like these people have no idea what they're talking about and they only go based on what goes viral on Twitter, but they don't actually look into things in the real world. Not only that, chances are they also use IRC chats. Yeah, it doesn't cost anything and it's almost untraceable. Tim is either tech literate or a liar. Well, they like Signal. They like Signal an awful lot. In fact, when I was undercover with them in New York, I got into some Signal groups that you could only get access to by going to their meetings. They love Signal.
Information, they take tips, they have a core network body that organizes, they travel the country to network with each other. And yes, there are individuals that we have long referred to as the tourists. And these are the people we believe to be principal leaders. That doesn't mean that they have authority and that Antifa guys are going to snap to attention and salute them. It means that when these people show up in this place, they go, tell us what to do. Because while this person may not be formally tied to their organization.
Hang on. Hey, Isa, can I just get your opinion on this? Isa's a former Antifa member that hangs out in the chat an awful lot, a great resource for people who have questions. Is what Tim is saying true, that there are leaders that just show up at protests and then in direct action and everyone just asks them what to do? What is Tim talking about? Do you have any idea? Let's listen again. Yeah, no, it's not real. No, Tim. Former Antifa member says no, Timmy.
Or individuals that we have long referred to as the tourists.
The tourists.
And these are the people we believe to be principal leaders. That doesn't mean they have authority and that Antifa guys are going to snap to attention and salute them. It means that when these people show up in this place, they go, tell us what to do.
Hang on. I want to make something very clear. A lot of you have been leaving me comments saying, Karlyn, I'm going to call the FBI and tell them to talk to you. Now, listen, I know you mean well. I understand you mean well. Can you guys please stop calling the FBI and telling them to talk to me? Can you please? Do you guys understand how that sounds? Do you guys understand that when you call the FBI and you say you need to talk to this person about Antifa, that is not going to work out well for me? So can you please, I'm not saying you did this, but I did definitely get a message from someone saying they were doing this the other day. And I was like, can you not do that? Can you not, as a random person off the street, call the FBI and say you need to go talk to this Karlyn person about Antifa? Because the FBI isn't going to understand what the fuck you're talking about, and I'm going to end up getting swatted, okay? So can everyone please stop? No, I'm not talking to the FBI. No, I don't want to talk to the FBI. And the FBI can eat my entire ass. Honestly, the FBI doesn't know what the fuck is going on. If the FBI wants to hear from me, they can show up at my door with a fat consulting check, and I will consider whether or not I want to spend the time educating them.
because while this person may not be formally tied to their organization, they know this is a leader in the movement, who is giving instruction. The reason why they lay back and avoid overt high-level titles so they don't go to prison. They're trying to navigate through our legal system. Well, there's one guy named Mark Bray, who was a professor who wrote the Antifa
Mark
handbook.
Bray. Again, Tim doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Mark Bray is not a leader on the left. I cannot believe these people are so stupid. Mark Bray is not a leader on the left. Do these people have no what you know what the thing is that's so crazy about this? People like Tim who pretend to know what he's talking about but has no clue. He has no idea the amount of book publishing that happens on the left. There are dozens and dozens of far left book publishers. There are thousands of far left books that are published every single year that are almost exactly like Mark Bray's Antifa handbook. When you go to leftist conferences like the Socialism Conference, which I went undercover at in 2023, at the Socialism Conference is hosted by Haymarket Books. Haymarket Books is the largest socialist book publisher in the United States. At the Socialism Conference, they have a giant bookstore where you can buy as many far left books all about Antifa and any other thing that you want. But the reason that Tim and Glenn Beck and all of these conservative retards hone in on Mark Bray, Antifa handbook, Mark Bray, Antifa handbook, Mark Bray, Antifa handbook, is it makes the best propaganda. It's not that that is the only book written about Antifa. That's fucking retarded. It's not that that's even the only book about far left tactics. If you go on CrimeThink's website, CrimeThink has way more information about how Antifa operates than is in Mark Bray's handbook. But this is the one book that they know about. This is the only book that they even know about. Because none of these people actually research the left. They go, but it's called the handbook, guys, so it must... No, it's one of thousands of far left books. That book isn't even new. How old is the Antifa handbook? When did Mark Bray write that? Like 10 fucking years ago or something? Mark Bray doesn't even lecture on the speaking circuit anymore. Mark Bray doesn't go to any of their events. I have barely seen any presentations with Mark Bray in years. 2016. Yeah, okay. The thing that was published 9 years ago, Tim, is this... Come on. These people are so dumb.
He's fled the country. So, yeah, they have leaders. Like a guy who writes a book instructing people on how and what to do and flees the country.
Tim, they have an entire fucking website instructing people what to do, Tim. If you go to the library section of CrimeThink, oh, look at all this material instructing people on what to do. If you go to the zine section of CrimeThink or the tools section of CrimeThink, look, CrimeThink has all sorts of fucking zines telling people what to do. These things on this website are significantly more influential to the far left and Antifa than Mark fucking Bray.
And also, it's all reportedly had a international fund to send to various Antifa groups. Listen, you don't get to fly a banner, call for terrorist actions. That's what the dude had posted, whether that they should resist legally and illegally, okay, terrorism. You don't get to then give people money for that affair and then say, there's no proof that I'm in charge of anybody. Yeah, when you give them money, right. But it's also a lot of this.
Hey, guys. Hey, how about, do you guys know what we want to read if we want to form an Antifa group? Do you guys know where should we start with Mark Bray's Antifa handbook if we want to form an Antifa group? Or maybe we just go over to the fucking anarchist library and we look up forming an Antifa group. And it looks as though we can get a pretty detailed like list of information and things to do if you want to form an Antifa group. Is the author of this paper also the leader of Antifa? Because this is actually probably more well read than Mark Bray's Antifa handbook. Yeah, what even the fuck is the internet? What even is the internet? Why does this exist? It is a mystery that will remain for all time.
Oh, won't someone rid me of this priest? These people, they wear black bloc, they dress up in all black because their intention is to loophole through the law. And that's the game they're playing. They are crafty terrorists. They exist. Now, here's what Glenn Beck had to say for media. Actually, before we get started, guys, join the Discord server. Go to timcast.com.
Oh, my God.
Join us. Look at that. $10 a month.
Oh.
And you make all of this possible. Without you, we couldn't do it. And as a member, you'll get access to our Discord community with tens of thousands of people. I kid you not. They hang out. They're talking. They're partying. They got pre-shows, after shows. Community is everything.
Yeah, community
This
is
is exactly
everything.
what we're talking about with Antifa. They
Yup.
have community. They talk to each other online. They have Discord servers. They have networks. And then they have people who work in media who will lie to cover this fact up. Crazy. How is the left so successful? Well, as successful as they are because they have community. So when one person needs something, someone has it. Someone says, I need somebody who can do graphic design. Someone has it. Then they make a flyer. Then they recruit. It's important to understand.
Yep,
Here's the story
Al Gore
from
invented
Mediaite.
the internet. Exactly.
Glenn Beck said Kash Patel dispatched agents to his house to ask him about Antifa. Antifa, short for anti-fascist. Let's just pause real quick. Again, they're just lying. Well, Antifa is technically, it is capital A, as you may have noticed.
Oh,
capital A
my
because Antifa,
God.
anti-fascist action, is actually a long-standing. You know, it's funny. I wouldn't call it a group because it's not like it's not an ideology. It was a faction in Weimar Germany. It was a literal group. That name has been transferred to a new group. So you can.
Who invented Antifa? Does anyone want to take a guess about who created Antifa in Germany? Does anyone? I don't know. I'm asking for my audience to educate me. I have no idea. Can you guys tell me? Does anyone know why Antifa in Germany ended up being a thing? Does anyone know who maybe created Antifa in Germany? Was it the Jews? No, it couldn't have been. It was a Jew named Shane. Couldn't have been the Jews. It was Chandler. Yeah, probably Chandler. Yep, probably Chandler. It was Soros. Soros created Antifa, probably. Yep. Uh-huh.
can call this modern Antifa, neo-Antifa, or something like this.
Neo-Antifa?
Right, like
okay, that's
like
not
neo-Nazis.
too complicated.
We don't say they're literal Nazis. So this is like neo-communists or something. Neo-coms. They have various groups. They are organized. They plan actions. I'll show you. We'll prove it.
Oh, you'll prove it, Tim.
Trump and his admin have invoked Antifa to partly justify deployment of federal agents and National Guards to Democratic-run cities. Indeed. Glenn Beck said, so we dove head first.
Tim, I thought you were going to prove that Antifa does direct action, Tim. I thought that you were going to prove that Antifa does direct action. Do you know how I can prove that Antifa does direct action? Do you know how I can prove it? Hang on. Do you guys want me to prove? Since Timmy is obviously uninterested in proving that Antifa does direct action. How about this, Tim? How about this? CrimeThink, a couple weeks ago, CrimeThink published a demonstrator's guide to operational security. Maybe you could have just pulled up CrimeThink, Tim. Maybe you could have just pulled up CrimeThink. Does CrimeThink have anything about direct action on it? Let's see. Direct action. Can we maybe just look on Antifa's website and see if they do direct action? Oh, wow. Look at this. A civilian's guide to direct action. Wow. That was real hard to find. How about this? A step-by-step guide to direct action. That's a completely different document. Wow, Timmy. It was so hard to prove that Antifa engages in direct action. I just don't know how I even managed that.
And we analyzed the Antifa network. And we went from the street thugs to the support groups, eventually the funding. To say the FBI was interested in this might be an understatement. Let's just say the FBI is turning over every single stone. It is so clear to me that they are exploring all angles of this, and they are talking to anyone and everyone that can give them any kind of information.
Oh, the FBI is talking to anyone and everyone that can give them any kind of information, huh? Guys, the FBI has left no stone unturned. Obviously, the FBI doesn't believe that I can give them any information at all because the FBI ain't talked to me. Obviously, the FBI believes that Honey Badger Mom, Shelly in Portland, can't give them any information at all because the FBI hasn't talked to Honey Badger Mom, even though Honey Badger Mom's been out in front of that ICE facility for over 100 days. I literally have former members of Antifa in my community. A member of my community was on the Jesse Waters show. He had to wear a mask because he had to protect his identity. Has the FBI contacted any of the former members of Antifa in my community? What if I put all my information online? Wow. Do you know what I did, though? Do you know what I did? Do you know what I did? If only that, you're right, dumb phone. If only there was a website. If only there was a website. How about if I sent the FBI to decodetheleft.com, where the FBI can actually, hire me for consulting and far left analysis. There's a whole page about, here you go, FBI. Here is how you get in touch with me. Don't know who I am? Oh, wait, I got you covered there too. Oh, here is my page where I have all of my my independent journalism, my undercover work, all this stuff. Not all of it, but just like a sampling. I mean, you don't even have to go off the homepage really, because on the homepage, I literally have that I can do advising, briefings, and consulting on the fucking homepage. If only there was a way for the FBI to figure out who I am. If only I had a YouTube channel with 125,000 subscribers. If only I was the number 17 rising US politics on all of Substack. If only there was some way for the FBI to know that I exist and the work that I do. But guys, don't worry about it. The FBI is leaving no stone unturned. They're talking to everyone that can help them with Antifa.
Let's just say the FBI is turning over every single stone. It is so clear to me that they are exploring all angles of this, and they are talking to anyone and everyone that can give them any kind of information.
Yes, I have done consulting, and every consulting arrangement I do has a double NDA, so I can't tell you and they can't talk about it either. So tough cookies, you ain't finding out, because I don't spill the beans on that shit. It is not possible for me to do consulting and to tell you guys who I'm working with. It's simply not possible because I'll get canceled, they'll get canceled, whole fucking shit show of a mess. So every single consulting thing that I do, and I do advising, and I do briefings, and I do stuff like that, always has a double NDA for that specific reason.
He said, Saturday, I got a phone call with the director. We get it. Okay. So where are we at right now? Let's see what we got. Left insists Antifa isn't a real organization despite multiple violent public incidents made up.
Breaking news.
This is from today, from Fox.
Breaking news.
Democrat lawmakers and liberal pundits are increasingly claiming Antifa does not exist. No Antifa organization exists. This is made up. But let me just pull up the doop-a-doop. They're lying. Here's Rose City Antifa. You may be saying,
oh, you really cracked the oh my God. Rose City Antifa is the only organization these people know. How is it possible that there can be thousands of Antifa cells and yet there is only one organization that is referenced over and 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 over again? Rose City Antifa is literally the only Antifa organization that these people have figured out.
But this is just one city. They said no Antifa organization exists. Here's one of them. There's dozens.
There's way more than dozens,
Tim. Email recruiting.
There's way more than dozens, you retard. You beanie-wearing fucking retard.
List. You can email them to join their organization. They have social media accounts clearly run by people. What is this that I've pulled up? Revcom, I wouldn't necessarily say is Antifa.
Oh my God! Pulled up the fucking Revcoms. The Revcoms are not Antifa. The Revcoms are a joke on the far left. The Revcoms are a little cult that literally no one on the far left takes seriously. We don't even cover the Revcoms on my channel because they are that much of a fucking joke on the far left. This has got to be a troll. How the fuck did this end up on Tim's screen? Like, how bro? This is like when Honey Badger Mom had to release a statement saying Chandler is not the founder of Antifa. That had me crack the fuck up. After that Antifa meeting, here's what happened. At the Antifa meeting, Kristi Noem, the Secretary for Homeland Security, basically says, we arrested the girlfriend of the founder of Antifa in Portland specifically. And that was a reference to Chandler because Chandler's girlfriend got arrested. Chandler is just some guy that, like, he maybe lets people crash at his apartment, but he is not the leader or founder of Antifa at all. But Kristi Noem seems to disagree. And so she announced at this Antifa meeting that they had the founder of Antifa in their sights because they arrested Chandler's girlfriend. And this pissed off Honey Badger Mom so badly that Honey Badger Mom went onto Twitter and said, I don't know who needs to hear this, but Chandler is not the founder of Antifa. And now Tim thinks the Revcoms are a serious and influential group on the far left. No, Timmy. No. Literally no one takes the Revcoms seriously on the far left, Tim. Literally no one. Tim Pool is brain rot. You're laughing in pain. Yeah, me too. We are all but humble retards that spend all day jacking off in front of the screen. How and why do we know more about this than Tim and about this Tim than the fucking government? Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question. How is it that me, a woman operating by myself in my second bedroom in New Hampshire with an online community of rabble-rousers, how is it that we know more about Antifa than the illustrious Occupy Wall Street heroine of Tim Pool and the fucking FBI?
They are a bit different, and a lot of Antifa people don't like Revcom. And Revcom usually just like goose steps around cities. So, but they are refuse fascism. So it is. You can see here, refuse. What happens if I click this? The time has come for the fall of the Trump fascist regime.
Revcom had something with fascist in the title, and so Tim is talking about them in the context of Antifa. Guys, you know, I can make a website on the internet that says antifascismusa.com or whatever. In fact, I might be doing that. Does that mean I have anything to do with Antifa? No.
This I think is somewhat different. Because my understanding of Revcom is I've seen them everywhere, and I've not seen these guys actually get violent. So I could be wrong. Here's a New York City Antifa, literal chapters with emails and social media and general correspondence where you can reach out to them.
Hang on, I want to see something. When was this website updated? Hang on.
And general correspondence where
that website hasn't been updated since 2010. That's what it says. November 8th, 2010. Real breaking news, Tim. You're just doing the journalism that's breaking the internet today, bro.
you can reach out to them. So this is just off the top of my head. Okay. There is no, look, I want to make sure you see this. No Antifa organization exists. This is made up. John Harwood posted to X on Wednesday. Okay. I wonder what the response is. Here's Lisa Elizabeth. Just because you don't want it to be true, let's zoom in. Doesn't mean it isn't. They exist. I've been around them. I've been assaulted by them. When a group of violent activists meet and organize, self-identify as Antifa, wave flags and wear patches that say Antifa, chant Antifa, what do you call that, John? You're wrong. Now, by all means, you can argue it's just a flag. It'd be like flying a swastika, right? You don't say that swastika is an organization. The only issue is Antifa is. This is literal Rose City Antifa. They have a website. They have emails. You can reach out to them. They literally exist. Here's a meme. The Skinner meme. Antifa is not an organization. We just have a flag, uniforms, official colors, local chapters, meeting places, email signups, and clear directives for members. They have
Clear
lawyers.
directives.
They have financiers.
Okay.
Remarkable.
Tim. Okay.
Why do they have a leadership and a handbook stating to
They
overthrow
don't.
the Constitution of the U.S.? You are a lying terrorist sympathizer. Now, to be fair, just these photos right here, and I think we'll break all this down. This might not be Antifa. This could be Red Guard. Who knows?
That is absolutely 1,000% not fucking Antifa. You know, kudos to Tim for realizing that the random post that he's referencing on Twitter from someone who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Kudos to Tim for realizing that's not Antifa. Well done, Timmy. He did that on the fly too. Hey, Doc, George Soros paid me to send you another $10. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you for that Soros cash. Typos on my consulting page. Oh, see, this is how you know I actually wrote the page myself. There are typos. And if you ever work with me, you'll probably see me make typos, and you just need to accept that. You know what I meant. I know what I meant. I will fix the fucking typo. But this is how you know that I actually authored the page myself. So you know I'm gonna view that as a good thing. Appreciate you proof checking that for me.
The John Brown Gun Club. Now, of course, you could argue that Antifa is basically like the swastika to their John Brown Gun Club, but Antifa literally has chapters. And that's what matters. So a lot of people need to understand this, guys. Everybody responding to Harwood, showing him various leftist groups. You need to break down the network.
Hang on, I got another super chat. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why we're so screwed. This is the conservative brain trust we're listening to. Well, Timmy is a liberal, but your point is well taken. Thank you.
Effect they have. If you want to point out he's wrong, simply show him that here's two, Rose City and NYC, and they aren't the only ones. Those are just the ones that I pulled up. Literally a group.
The only ones you know about. The only ones you know about.
Sign up and says they say we're closed members. They used to recruit. You can email them to get in touch, and they'll try and vet you. They're very scared of undercover law enforcement. BS. What do we have here? This one, it says the evil white race must be destroyed.
Oh my God, that's
Antifa
not real.
front.
That's not real. That's not real. That's not real. I promise you, no. That is made by like a little probably an actual neo-Nazi. That's made by an actual neo-Nazi to try to, like, you know, trick people. That's not real. I can tell just based on the language from that's not real. That's fake.
I think that's probably fake. I don't know if that's
Timmy knows too. That's fake. So now Tim is reporting as news a Twitter thread that he has already identified 2 false pieces of information in Tim. So maybe you should have vetted this before you started the video, bro. If only there was a reputable place that Timmy could get access to primary source information about the left. Sadly, Tim Pool blocked me on Twitter like 2 years ago when I made fun of him for being bald after he did something that was really dickish and wrong. And I made fun of him and I called him out, and then he blocked me on Twitter. And so sadly, Tim Pool does not have access to any of the information that I share about the far left, which is far more reputable than any of this bullshit that he's sharing on his screen right now. But, you know, he's the big famous Occupy journalist after all. The thing with Tim is no matter how much primary evidence you show him, he'll battle you no matter what and start yelling his beanie head off. And this is why I can never go on any of his shows, ever. It's not that I haven't been asked. It's that I don't want to. Because there is no point in me talking to Tim at all, because he would say something stupid. I would start yelling. He would start crying. He would storm out. I would end up being the bad guy because I started yelling, even though he said something stupid and he damn well deserved to get yelled at. It would be an explosion, and it would not go well for me, and it would accomplish nothing. And Tim would be really pissed and upset and have a fit about it and all this stuff. It's just not worth it, guys. Just not worth it.
After the purge, we'll live in a worker's paradise. I don't think that's real. It's probably fake. Blah, blah, blah. You're invited to laser tag. Look at this. They're calling for attacking helicopters. Antifa leaders flee Trump crackdown on domestic terror networks. So here's how it works.
How does it work, Tim?
Antifa is a decentralized organization. It is
True.
an organization.
True.
John Harwood and these other people are just flat out lying. You're never going to convince me that John Harwood doesn't have Google, okay? Because you can just Google this. When I see someone like Andy No, and he goes, Antifa's real, I say, oh, I'm going to click this and say, oh, look at that. There's a Rose City Antifa, an organization that exists. Now, when you start backing away,
so
looking at
again,
the bigger
this is the point I was making yesterday when we were yelling about Glenn Beck. I'm going to make the same point now. The priority among the conservative influencers, and Tim, whether we like him or not, or whether he's a liberal or not, is a conservative influencer. He's not a left-leaning influencer. He's a right-leaning influencer. The priority among the conservative influencers is not solving the problem of Antifa. It is not educating the public about what's going on and making sure people are properly informed. The priority of these people is to own the libs. That is the highest virtue. It's Glenn Beck's highest virtue. It's Andy No's highest virtue. It's Tim Pool's highest virtue. Almost every single right-leaning pundit or commentator or influencer, all they fucking care about is owning the libs. It's even Donald Trump's highest virtue. We saw that play out at the Antifa press conference. The only person at that Antifa press conference who gave good, solid information was Katie Davis Court. That's it. The rest of them were literally just there to own the libs, because owning the libs is how they make money, because the base of the Republican Party, no offense to smart conservatives, but the base of the Republican Party is stupid. It is low IQ. They are not capable of grappling with higher level information. It's basically idiocracy. It's idiocracy in real life. You have to make poop jokes and fart jokes and fat jokes and ugly jokes. You have to own the libs so they can feel like they got one over, so they can high five and go, owned bro, or whatever the fuck else they say. You gotta post the memes that make them feel morally superior, because, you know, if they just point out the hypocrisy of the left guys, that'll fix everything. It's all you have to do. All you have to do to defeat the left is just point out that they're stupid and ugly and fat and hypocrites, and oh my God, Antifa is obviously a real organization. And this is why we're losing to the left. And it's why we'll always lose to the left, because as it turns out, you cannot defeat the left with memes and fat jokes.
picture, you find that there's various groups like the National Lawyers Guild, for instance, that provides legal support to Antifa and other left-wing groups. I wouldn't say that they are Antifa. They are part of these networks that support terrorism. The National
I'm starting to think you're not smart enough to be in my community, and I'm going to tell you why. Number one, you say a lot of stupid shit in my chat. Number two, you showed up to my Center for Left-Wing Studies volunteer meeting yesterday, and you were kind of annoying and, you know, quite frankly, not someone I necessarily wanted involved. And I'm willing to give you a second chance, but I'm tired. I'm tired of the lowbrow, low IQ bullshit. I'm just tired of it. So if you want to volunteer in my center, if you want to be in my chat, you just got to take it up couple notches. Okay. You're not, if you, and by the way, if you believe that you are defeating the left right now, you are absolutely not volunteering for my Center for Left-Wing Studies. Like that's too low IQ, bro. That's below the bar. Okay. So if you actually believe that the right is winning and that the left is losing, we need to part ways.
Lawyers Guild would probably say we don't support terrorism. But based on everything I've seen, I'd argue they do. I was at an event in Boston, and a bunch of right-wingers showed up with shields. They were having a free speech event. Antifa showed up to threaten them with violence, and they had clubs and shields. I'm sorry, not shields. They had clubs and crowbars and stuff like that.
What was the Antifa called?
And it was funny. I actually got attacked while at that rally, but not like physically. The guy was swinging at me, but intentionally missing.
All right, thank you.
These people are insane. And the national
no, it's not too late to volunteer. We just had our first meeting last night. There will be many more meetings, though. If you want to volunteer, go to leftwingstudies.com, sign up in the volunteer link, follow the instructions. Definitely not too late to volunteer. Appreciate you asking.
National Lawyers Guild, because I've known them for a while. In fact, they've used my video as evidence to aid some of these individuals, some activists. We're standing there, and then I said, how come the National Lawyers Guild is only over here? And they went, what do you mean? And I said, the National, they wear green hats, and they're legal observers. I said, how come you're only on this side and not observing the other side? And they went,
It's always
what do
posted
you
in
mean?
locals,
And I was
Salvatore.
like,
All spy streams are posted in locals. They're posted on Substack, locals, Patreon, Twitter subscribers, and YouTube channel members. And when I post in locals too, it's pinned to the top. I just haven't posted the info yet.
I thought the legal observers were to protect peaceful protesters from government infringement, authoritarianism. Nope. The National Lawyers Guild is a progressive, left-aligned legal group that operates independently to provide legal support to Antifa and other far-left extremists.
They're not progressive.
That's what they do. So if you're a conservative and you are out peacefully fighting for free speech, they have lined up against you. And if you get attacked by Antifa, they will bear witness on behalf of Antifa to benefit them. They have lawyers. This is how they were able to attack DC in 2017 and get
we're back in
away with it.
They are 2016.
Very
Got
organized. Here's one of my favorites. Let's do this. The Bulwark. We'll play this in a second, but we've got dozens are killed by ISIS-linked rebels. What do you mean?
What the fuck does that have to do with Antifa?
No ISIS. These people are just flying a flag of an idea.
What does that have
Why
to do
would
with
they
Antifa?
call it ISIS-linked? New York Times. How about this one? Manchester synagogue terrorist pledged allegiance to ISIS. What do you mean? ISIS is just an idea, right?
Tim has really taken the conservative Kool-Aid, hasn't he? Not only is he not even talking about Antifa right now, but he has to get people all riled up about Islam, because there's nothing that gets that conservative clicks going and the retweets and the likes and all that stuff other than riling them up about Islam. What does this have to do with Antifa, Tim?
These terror attacks had nothing to do with ISIS. Washington Post. Teen arrested day before he planned to attack churches in name of ISIS. You get the point. There is an ISIS, okay? And it's been mostly decimated. When these attacks happen internationally, they say it's in the name of ISIS. It's ISIS-linked, pledged to ISIS. They tell you outright ISIS exists, despite the fact these people have no contact. That's the same thing. There is a core network of individuals that are Antifa. We call them the tourists.
No.
I have seen them protest. I have not been to China. I've seen videos of them protesting in China. I have been to Turkey. I have seen these people in Turkey. And I'm sitting here being like, what is going on? This guy was in New York and LA and Seattle, and now he's in Turkey.
Do you have any proof of that, Tim? Do you have pictures of him? Tim Pool is saying that he went to New York, LA, China, and Turkey, and he found the same person protesting in all four places. Pinky swear, trust me, bro. Do you have any proof? Were you on drugs? Were you hallucinating? Is this your lived experience, Timmy? Are we supposed to take your lived experience as evidence? How do you know it was the same person? Did you talk to them? Did you? I mean, it's seems unhinged, Tim.
And there are videos online of them marching in China.
Okay, show us the videos.
Tourists.
Show us the videos.
It's a reference to the fact that every time me and several other journalists would go to various areas where we expected civil unrest, the same people were.
When is the last time that Tim was actually out in the field? Does anyone know? Yeah, this is Timmy's truth. This is Tim's lived experience. This is Tim's truth. When was the last time that Tim was actually in the field as a journalist? We all know he was at Occupy Wall Street. What else did Tim actually cover as a journalist? Ferguson, okay. I know he did stuff around Berkeley. I know he did stuff around Portland back in the day. Has Tim been in the field in the last 5 years? Has Tim done any journalism actually out in the real world in the last 5 years? Okay, Tim, I'm going to have to say I don't believe what you're saying. I want evidence. And you doing journalism 10 years ago does not mean the same thing is happening today.
Organizing in churches and at community centers. Who are these people? They are Antifa. They have the Antifa patches. They fly the flag. They exist. They were at Occupy Wall Street. The tourists. They're real. You can look it all up. But let me just point this out.
This
and
is
we'll
so
grab our friends
unhinged.
from the
The
bulwark here.
fucking tourists.
What they are attempting to do is fly under the
No,
radar
I won't.
intentionally to make it harder to prosecute and go after them for things like RICO. The left are very clever. They have lawyers who navigate
Just so people know, there is no universe in which this mysterious RICO thing is happening because there is no funding. If there is a RICO, okay, let me put this stake in the ground right now. If there is a RICO case, it is not going to have to do anything with Antifa. It's going to be about Soros. It's going to be about the Party for Socialism and Liberation. It's going to be about the CCP. It's going to be something like that. If they do try to do some RICO case, those are the people they're going to be targeting. They are not going to be targeting Antifa, and it will have absolutely no impact on Antifa, but they will label it as Antifa as a PR mechanism. So I'm putting the stake in the ground now. That is what's going to happen with the RICO thing. If it ever happens, if it ever amounts to anything, which I really don't actually think it's going to, but if it does, it will be targeting Soros, Party for Socialism and Liberation, CCP stuff. It will not be targeting Antifa.
law, and they tell them, say this, don't say this, do this, don't do this, claim this. Then they get people in media to lie on their behalf.
Well, Sam, what do you think? I stopped it right there at Glenn Beck receiving this call. The director
from Patel, right? I mean, that's what he's saying.
No, someone else saying that the director wants you to meet with people.
I mean, so there's two ways to think about it. One is like Dan Bongino's just still watching Glenn Beck and is like, "Yo, Cash." You got to check this out. I guess Cash is maybe watching Glenn Beck. The other way to think about it is like...
Let's just pause real quick and point out the absurdity. The presumption they've made so far is they've not actually presented anything. They've just laughed at the idea. This is what liberals do because there's actually an easy way to describe this. A journalist did a...
Every single person with a working brain should be laughing at the idea that the FBI called Glenn Beck, of all people, to help them crack the case on Antifa, particularly after that video we watched yesterday, which is Glenn Beck's... Do you guys know, for people who weren't here, do you know how Glenn Beck knows who's funding Antifa? Does anyone remember what evidence Glenn Beck presented about the funding sources for Antifa? Glenn Beck had zero evidence in his chalkboard video, zero primary source receipts. And Glenn Beck literally said in the video, we watched it yesterday on the channel, Glenn Beck literally said, I don't have any direct evidence. I'm not making accusations. I'm not saying this happened. There's just an odor in the air. So Glenn Beck's evidence was he made a list of Antifa groups that he knows about. He made a list of Democrat funding sources he doesn't like. He made a list of lawyers groups. And then he said, I'm not saying these groups are working together. There's just an odor in the air. And based on that brilliant analysis of no evidence and there is an odor, the FBI called Glenn Beck to be their expert analyst to help them in their RICO case against Antifa or whatever the fuck they're doing. Any person with a working brain should be laughing at the absurdity and the incompetence of our federal government. Anyone with a working brain should be laughing at the absurdity and the incompetence of the conservative conservative influencer and pundit sphere who provide zero evidence to their audience say, pinky swear, trust me, bro, there's an odor. So do I blame the leftists for laughing at this? No, I don't. No, not in any way.
The way to think about it is like,
let's just pause real quick and point out the absurdity. The presumption they've made so far is they've not actually presented anything. They've just laughed at the idea. This is what liberals do because there's actually an easy way to describe this. A journalist did a special report on Antifa financing, and the FBI said, we'd like access to your information. We want to pursue these leads. Sounds fairly normal. If the New York Times came out and said, after an investigation, we found this was, here are these things, the feds would reach out and say, we want this information. It happens all the time. In fact, that's why we have shield laws, because law enforcement does routinely request information from journalists pertaining to their investigations. Sometimes the journalists say no because our sources expect anonymity. Other times, depending on how the investigation is structured and it's not coming directly from a source, they'll say, here's everything I got on the mafia that I was researching. Good luck. These guys are just laughing because what they're trying to do is, it's like canned laughter. For these liberals who watch this stuff, they're told to just laugh at it. It's stupid.
that there's some just normal human beings in the FBI who now are being like forced to watch Glenn Beck and have to process this stuff. And they're like, I guess we got to kick this up the chain to Cash and tell him about Glenn Beck's latest rant. Do they not know that this rant's been—
Tim is not even watching the video. He's playing on his own video. He's playing on his phone right now. That's how serious Timmy is taking this analysis of Antifa. He's playing on his fucking phone. Yeah.
Been going on for a decade. I mean, even Glenn's like, yeah, I've been on this for a decade now.
Well, hold on, let's go. This is my favorite part. Let's go back to Glenn.
Okay, hold on. They still not said anything critiquing the report. They're literally just insulting Glenn Beck and saying nothing.
Hey, Tim, I'll critique the report. Because unlike you and unlike Glenn Beck, I actually read the report that the White House put out, and the White House put out a report on anti-Israel groups that didn't even mention Antifa once, and said that the National Lawyers Guild got a $25,000 grant from the Soroses about 8 years ago. So that's what the White House report actually said. It was a bunch of anti-Israel groups that had nothing to fucking do with Antifa. There was no evidence that Soros is funding Antifa. There was no evidence that the Tide Foundation is funding Antifa. There's no evidence that Soros is even funding the National Lawyers Guild, which I don't know exactly how they fucked that one up, but they did manage to indeed fuck that up. And in Glenn Beck's chalkboard video, the only evidence in it was a list of organizations that Glenn Beck doesn't like. And then he said, I don't really have any proof that these organizations work together, but there is an odor. So I'll critique it. And I'll critique your fucking video because you have information in your video that isn't even correct. You think the rev comms are relevant on the far left? How unhinged are you, Timmy? Can you name any other group that's not Rose City Antifa or New York Antifa or Atlanta Antifa or any of that? Can you name any Antifa group that does not have Antifa in the title? Because that's what the vast majority of the groups are. Do you even know how Antifa is funded, Tim? Do you know what mutual aid is? You want a fucking critique? I will give you a fucking critique, you beanie-wearing faggot.
We're fast forward. We get the scene where he's receed the call. The director was very interested in his material.
He's like, he's freaked out. He's like, I can't believe I got this call.
Yeah,
like,
the 3 agents are coming to his home. He calls over his producer. It's him and his wife and his producer, and let's see what happened.
3 agents sat in my living room on Saturday afternoon for almost 2 hours. And I immediately called Jason. I'm like, Jason, you're the researcher. It's your fault. I'm going to throw you under the bus. You better get your butt over here. So Jason was there, and my wife and Jason and I sat there, and it was surreal at one point. I talked to him for about 15 minutes just going over the Tides Foundation and saying, if you understand Tides, you'll understand how difficult your job is going to be. And this is information that I first gave on Fox years ago. Let me just say this. Finally, we have an administration and an FBI director that is willing to go in deep. Not surface, but deep. I can only imagine what we could have avoided if anyone...
Do you guys know what I'm thinking about right now? Do you guys... This is all so familiar to me. Do you know what I'm thinking about right now? Do you remember after the 2020 election when they were trying to prove voter fraud before Biden actually got inaugurated into office? Do you guys remember that the entire conservative media sphere, up to and including Glenn Beck, I'm almost positive about this. Do you guys remember when they were all like, this is absolutely voter fraud and we're going to release the Kraken? We're going to release. Sidney Powell got up and did that press conference. Rudy Giuliani was there and they were like, we're going to release the Kraken. And they kept saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks. It was all trusting the plan, the fucking Kraken. They assured everyone Glenn Beck road cover for their fucking asses. Tim Pool road cover for their fucking asses. They promised us for weeks and weeks and weeks the Kraken was coming, the Kraken was coming, the Kraken was coming. I remember saying at one point, I put out on Twitter, I remember saying at one point, guys, I don't think there's a Kraken. And I got my ass handed to me by everyone like, yeah, you're a secret Democrat and blah, 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 blah. This is exactly the same thing as the releasing the Kraken. Glenn Beck is releasing the Kraken at the FBI, and it comes in the form of the Tides Foundation allegedly funding Antifa, where there's absolutely proof that this is happening. Pinky swear, trust us, bro. Glenn Beck has the Kraken, and he's releasing it right now on all of us. It's not as though he could have just made this public years ago and had people on the internet figure it the fuck out. He has kept this information secret for years and years and years, just waiting for the moment when Donald Trump was in office, and he could finally release the Kraken on the FBI. It's the Kraken. It's the Kraken all over again. Aw, man.
In an administration would have done this in 2011.
All right, so there you go, Will. So Glenn is like, boy, I really had to educate these guys. They didn't know about the Tides Foundation. They didn't know. These nations didn't know anything about the.
This is wild. These guys have. I'm sorry to subject you to this, but I'm waiting for them to say something substantive that I can argue. But all they're doing is just saying what happened and laughing. Because this is what liberals are. They're Big Bang Theory viewers. Sorry, Big Bang Theory viewers. I have no respect for you.
The vast left-wing conspiracy.
No.
Revcoms absolutely do not coordinate with Antifa. Revcoms are a joke on the far left. If you think the Revcoms are relevant on the far left, you need to stop talking to whoever you're talking to, because that is just not true. Revcoms are not at any of the major far left events. Revcoms don't coordinate with any of the major far left activist groups. There is no fucking universe, I promise you, in which Antifa is coordinating with the Revcoms. The Revcoms are a weird culty little group. Sometimes you might see their flyers at protests. Sometimes you might see their flyers at bookstores. It's not that they don't hand stuff out, but they are not relevant on the far left at all in any way. Yeah, it's like one guy and this like one woman, and they have meetings, and it's not a real thing. No.
I feel like I really served my country today.
This is every crank's dream, right? Is that the FBI is going to call and be like, we really think you're onto something here, Glenn. It's so crazy that with everything going on in this country.
What is the Tides Foundation, guys? You've not addressed the substantive claim that has been made. I mean, it would be very simple if they started laughing and say, guys, the Tides Foundation does X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C. This is the argument. He could do something like that. They don't. Well, maybe he will. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's see. He's got 40 seconds. Less than.
Kash Patel directs, I think, 3 FBI agents to go hang out with Glenn Beck for a couple hours. Glenn Beck can't even explain this stuff, so he has to have his producer come, who's like the real kind of originator of these crazy ideas. And then they just, he drops knowledge, as you said. I mean, he's had, I've been putting this stuff out there for years.
What do you think producer Jeremy was thinking when Glenn was like, Jeremy, you're on the hook for this shit? Jeremy's probably like, man, Glenn, I've been just fucking bullshitting for a while now. This is getting.
They never actually address any of the claims about Antifa. You see, this is the thing about your IQ level. If you're
how many of you, let me just ask the question. How many of you, okay, I'm going to regret doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. 1 in the chat if you would like to see me debate Tim Pool about Antifa. 2 in the chat if you would not like to see me debate Tim Pool about Antifa. 1 if you want to see me debate Tim Pool about Antifa. 2 in the chat if you do not want to see me debate Tim Pool about Antifa. It's an awful lot of ones. That's an awful lot of ones. It's an awful lot of ones. Because the thing is, Tim is talking about addressing substantive claims. Well, Tim, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and you have no evidence to support your position. So if you ever want to debate me, as it appears like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in my chat want you to do right now, based on the amount of ones that I'm seeing, if you want to ever debate me about Antifa and present your evidence and get an actual critique, and I'll critique Glenn Beck, I would actually debate both Tim Pool and Glenn Beck at the same time in the same fucking room, and I don't actually think that would be a problem for me. I would kick Tim Pool and Glenn Beck's ass at exactly the same time. Maybe Joe Rogan could host that debate. That'd actually be pretty rad. But of course, I'm not relevant enough for any of this, but I would run circles around both Tim Pool and Glenn Beck on the topic of Antifa at the same time, and it wouldn't even be difficult. So, Timmy, if you ever want to have a real substantive discussion about Antifa with someone who vehemently disagrees with you, you let me know, bro. You let me know. Perhaps people could send in super chats to Tim, not too expensive because he doesn't ever read the ones about me, but maybe if people want to send in super chats to Tim, telling him to debate me, you want to go harangue Tim in his chat, telling him to debate me, you want to go harangue Timmy in his comments, telling him to debate me, you want to go to reply to Tim and tag him on Twitter because I'm blocked by him. He's not going to see anything I say, but you guys can tag him and say, Tim, why don't you talk to Karlyn about Antifa? You really want to know about Antifa? I mean, obviously, Tim knows who I am. I mean, we know that Tim knows exactly who I am, and we know he knows about my experience.
So it's not because I haven't dangled my junk into the combat zone on purpose to get some camera footage, but that's the big part of what's the problem.
Is that what you call reporting?
Go under, if you're going to do it, go undercover. Otherwise, you're wearing a hunk of meat in a lion's den. Nick Shirley, I love you. Take care of yourself, man. Karlyn Borysenko went undercover. Do stuff like that. Like if you want to expose this thing, don't pariah, please.
But Ian, here's and I agree with you to an extent.
So we know he knows who I am. We know he knows I've been undercover with Antifa. Happy to talk anytime, Timmy Tim. Happy to talk anytime. You voted too because you wouldn't do that to me? Well, I appreciate that. There would certainly be yelling. There would be shouting. There'd be crying. Tim would probably be crying. I would not be crying. I would be yelling and shouting. Tim would be crying. It would probably be awful. But, you know, Tim wants to have a substantive discussion about Antifa. Game on, bro. Game on. Hey, effectual insurrection over on Rumble. That was a Flynn Intel Group psyop. The Kraken City Powell was a liar and wanted to get Donald Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act. Yeah, I know that whole Kraken thing was crazy. I appreciate that Rumble rant.
Watching some of these podcasts, I got to be honest, guys. I don't know how you do it. I mean, maybe you don't because you're watching me, but I've been on shows and I've watched shows, and it's hard for me to do. I'm impatient. It can be patient, but I can get real impatient, especially in things like this. I had a guy, I was in Texas, and a guy bumped into me, and he said he's a big fan, and he was just asking like how. It's like you always seem to know what to say, you know, like when you're having these arguments and these debates. And I'm just like, you know what the thing is? I don't think I'm the smartest person in the world. I just think before I speak.
You do?
So, my point is.
You do.
I already know what the arguments are going to be because I've analyzed these circumstances and asked myself these questions. When I first encounter the black bloc anarchists, we call them at Occupy Wall Street, we start asking questions about who they are, what they do, what their motivations.
Occupy
we go to these meetings,
mentions.
and it escalates from there. Eventually, they get branded Antifa. They start flying this flag. They're anti-capitalist, they're tanky, there are various disparate leftist ideologies, but they started flying this flag and this banner and operating under these affiliated networks with resources. We learn about why they do what they do. We've had conversations. So it's 10 years ago. Someone says, what is Antifa? And I say, well, you know, I've been researching this for some time, and I would argue that it is a decentralized organization, meaning there is organization. There's not a strong hierarchy, but there is a hierarchy. So to put it simply, there are leaders.
Wrong.
You've seen people like Mark Bray, who's been outed.
No. Tim, you are a fucking retard if you think that Mark Bray is the leader of Antifa. You have no evidence that Mark Bray. Who is listening to Mark Bray? Who is Mark Bray giving marching orders to? What protest is Mark Bray organizing? What direct action is Mark Bray organizing? Oh, look, guys. Oh, we got a conservative retard. Oh, no. Conservatives are being retarded. You sound like a radical leftist. Yes, I'm a fascist. Yeah, you're right about that. You're right, conservative retard. You're right. I am a fascist. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. You want to know why I'm a fascist conservative retard? And I just banned you, so now you can't say anything in the chat, but I'll answer the question. Do you know why I'm a fascist? Because unlike the Trump administration, I want to put communists in jail. Unlike the Trump administration, I actually want to burn all communist books and all queer theory books, and I want to ban the publication of future books. Unlike the Trump administration, I would like to ban the whole fucking concept of communism and teaching about communism and training kids to be communists. And if an Antifa motherfucker shows up in Black Bloc in front of an ICE facility, I want to arrest them, and I want to build a concentration camp in a desert somewhere or possibly on Alcatraz to concentrate all of the Antifa assholes, and I don't want to let them back out again. So, yes, you're right. I am very fascist on this particular topic. 100%.
He is a functional leader. This doesn't mean that he goes and commands all the Antifa. It's more of a whisper network.
No, Tim. Now, oh my God, that is so
he provides
stupid.
Knowledge access resources.
No.
He reportedly was running an international financing operation to provide resources to various Antifa.
Mark Bray was leading an international finance organization to provide resources to Antifa? Guys, Mark Bray was a professor at Rutgers University, is still a professor at Rutgers. I think he's doing it virtually now. Mark Bray is a professor at Rutgers University who wrote a book 8 years ago about Antifa. One of hundreds of books about Antifa that exist on the far left, by the way, not to mention the Anarchist Library, not to mention Crime Thing, not to mention like literally any other resource that's probably actually more popular than Mark Bray's book. Mark Bray did a little book tour when that book came out. He did lectures in a bunch of places. Mark Bray very rarely even lectures today. And you want me to believe, Tim, that Mark Bray is a mastermind of an international Antifa financing ring? That's the dumbest thing I've heard all week. It's only Tuesday. I could hear something dumber. But that's pretty dumb. That's retarded. That is not even borderline retarded. That is just retarded. Mark Bray, the Epstein of Antifa, Tim Pool confirms. Yeah, breaking news. Yeah, source, trust me, bro. Yep.
Capacity. That's what we would describe as a leader.
No.
But they intentionally operate
Wrong.
in a decentralized
Wrong,
manner.
completely wrong.
So that they can avoid RICO charges and hard
That's
takedowns.
true. Yeah, that's true.
Particularly for situations like this. So Rose City Antifa exists. They'll have limited communications with other networks until one of the tourists will move from Rose City, Portland, to another city to help coordinate protest actions.
Are you fucking It's like Tim doesn't realize the internet is a thing and people can coordinate on the internet. So Tim's theory is that how Antifa coordinates across all of its decentralized cells is someone from Portland has to move to another city in order to start up a new Antifa cell and coordinate between Portland and a new city. Tim, have you ever heard of the internet? Have you ever heard of Signal? No one needs to pick up and move, Timmy. They can just coordinate on the internet and in Signal groups and on Blue Sky and on Discord and on the Anarchist Library and on Anarchist News and on No Blogs, which is an entire anarchist web hosting platform. Did you know that Antifa has its own web hosting platform? Tim Pool thinks that someone needs to move from Portland to like Austin or something in order to coordinate from Antifa. The internet exists, Timmy. The internet is a thing. Can we just listen to that again? That was like the most. Listen. I thought we had reached peak stupid with Tim saying that Mark Bray is the leader of Antifa. Oh no! We descended even deeper into the land of retardia with Tim saying the only way for Antifa to coordinate is for Antifa in one city to move to another city.
Decentralized manner, so that they can avoid RICO charges and hard takedowns, particularly for situations like this. So Rose City Antifa exists. They'll have limited communications with other networks until one of the tourists will move from Rose City, Portland, to another city.
That's what he just said. Tim thinks that the only way for a decentralized group to coordinate is for one member to move to another city. Okay. The internet doesn't exist, guys. The internet isn't. I know. I honestly, I cannot believe he has reached this level of like retardia. I really didn't. He might even be more retarded than James Lindsay. This is actually potentially stupider than anything I've ever heard James Lindsay say. And Reagan, we've heard James Lindsay say a lot of stupid shit.
To help coordinate protest actions. They do it on the down low. I've been in these
on the
activist
down
circles.
low.
I've been in these buildings.
On the down low, guys.
So clearly there are leaders. As we often say, even lobsters have leaders. The purpose is to avoid detection by federal law enforcement. And Glenn Beck saying he's been doing this for years. Well, the issue is the Biden administration has no interest in stopping people who are aiding and abetting them. An example is when people were protesting masks during the lockdown, Antifa attacked them. And it's like, wait, hold on. The people protesting masks weren't even like far-right people. It was just anti-mask people saying, well, I shouldn't have to wear a mask. Why are Antifa? Because Antifa is co-opted and easily controlled by powerful interests.
Yeah.
This is the point.
Hey, Tim, do you know how Antifa coordinates? They fax each other, bro. That must be the only way. That's the only way for Antifa to coordinate is they fax each other documents across state lines. Oh, Tim thinks they're using smoke signals, Timmy. Yeah, that's exactly it. They're using smoke signals. We are so fucked. They're using ham radio. They're flying a paper airplane from one city to the next to coordinate. Carrier pigeons. Yup. Morse code. Yeah, it must be. Yeah, they're the postal service. That actually unironically is an option. They're sending messages in a bottle. They're communicating via Morse code. Fucking pigeons. The internet doesn't exist, guys. The internet isn't a real thing, apparently, in the land of Tim Pool.
They're privateers. So
They're
let me put it like this.
privateers.
If you really want to understand what Antifa is, consider it a black flag. It is a Jolly Roger. It is the Totenkopf, the skull and crossbones. These are people who operate for the benefit of a powerful political faction, but they essentially operate under de facto letters of marque. Rose City Antifa is an organization. They exist. There's their website. New York City Antifa exists. Boom, there's their website. There's Atlanta Antifa. There's a bunch of others. There are various NGOs, networks, and legal apparatus that will join them and move around the country. The point is, powerful interests will go to them and say, I can't be seen.
Yeah, they all have pagers. Yeah, exactly.
But here's effective letter of marque. Do the job. Back in the colonial era, which is...
Wait, what? Hang on, wait, what? Wait, does Tim think... Tim thinks that one Antifa member is delivering a letter from Mark Bray to another Antifa group and the letter is delivering orders? Is that literally what I just heard?
To Antifa, there's a bunch of others. There are various NGOs, networks, and legal apparatus that will join them and move around the country. The point is, powerful interests will go to them and say, I can't be seen cavorting with the likes of you. But here's effective letter of marque. Do the job.
This is like Paul Revere letter of shit, guys. This is like Paul Revere level shit. This is like Paul Revere level shit right here. It's like one if by land, two if by sea, the lanterns in the fucking tower after dark.
Back in the colonial era, which
Letter
is
of marque
hundreds of
means
years, by
killing
the way,
people. That makes sense.
when pirates would ransack like a French vessel, the French weren't retarded. They'd say those were Englishmen who did that. And they were just flying a black sail or or they weren't flying a flag. They'd go to England and say, it is your people who are attacking us. They go, oh, but they're pirates. We have nothing to do with this. As if we're stupid. It was to create a difficulty in navigating the space legally. Well, ultimately it leads to war, by the way, because the French were just like, it's not just the French, though. That's the point. These people, what they're doing, it's a gaggling batch of morons. They never actually refuted any of the arguments. They never presented any information. They simply said, ha, 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 Glenn Beck is so dumb. Well, there are people who live in that reality, and they believe it.
Yeah,
I don't think we're having a real conversation with a middle ground anymore, to be honest.
Oh, we're not having a real
I think we're actually
conversation.
looking at
Oh,
as
that's
people who are
right.
discerning
Yeah.
and people who are not. And if you're not, ain't nobody going to wake you up.
We are not having a
But let
real
me just point this out.
conversation.
I'll say this, my friends. Man, I've seen some of these podcasts where they open with the guy being like, so today there's this story, and I'm just like, I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people do it, because I go, go, crank it up 2 times volume. I already talk fast enough. I ain't got time for this. But if you want to watch the Bulwark podcast and clap like a seal.
All right, that's it. That's it. We're not watching that second video. That's enough of Timmy Tim today. I am going to put the link to that video in the chat. If you guys would like to go and leave Timmy Tim a comment on that video and tell him that, that you would really like to fax him a letter or something, or that you want to send something by carrier pigeon, because obviously the internet is not a real thing. If Antifa has to literally move to coordinate with other Antifa, I don't even know how we're even leaving comments on videos anymore. It's like, it's an impossible system to navigate, really. Let me see how many views this video has. 250,000 views. A quarter of a million people have listened to Timmy Tim saying that Glenn Beck fixed Antifa, it's all over, problem solved, and that Mark Bray is the leader of Antifa, which is just absurd. And then the only way that Antifa coordinates is through smoke signals and a pamphlet and a pamphlet that was sent in the form of a paper airplane and carrier pigeons and fax and all that stuff, because Tim is pretty sure Antifa definitely isn't coordinating on the internet or via Telegram or via anarchist websites or any of that. Yeah. 250,000 people. This is why we have such a hard time, guys. This is why we have such an uphill battle when it comes to the far left. Is there a way we can move by hot air balloon? That's a good question. That is a very good question. Perhaps we should do everything by hot air balloon. Apparently, Antifa has the cunning of a 16th century spy, according to the brain trust of Timcast. Effectual insurrection on Rumble. No one can be this dumb. The right thing is intentional incompetence. Yeah, I mean, I have to question, is Tim actually this fucking stupid? Is it like, I don't think he is. Unironically, I don't think that Tim is a dumb person. I know that I'm shitting on him quite a bit, but like, is Tim actually this stupid? Have I overestimated Tim's intellect because Antifa doesn't coordinate on the internet is just a take that I didn't expect today? Given that I can literally give you the websites that they're coordinating on, and I would actually give the evidence. I wouldn't just say pinky swear, trust me, bro. I saw them in a dream in China and wherever else Tim went. This is why it's so difficult to fight the left, guys. This is why. And this is why I yell, and this is why I cry, and this is why I complain. And this is why I sometimes have meltdowns on the internet. Because the thing is, one of the things that's so difficult about the work I do is I am constantly, and I mean constantly, confronted by the fact that the majority of so-called anti-left commentators would prefer to lie to their audiences for clicks and clout than actually inform their audience of what is going on. So if you want to know what the actual far left is doing, hang out on the channel, subscribe to my Substack. I will show you primary source evidence about what the far left is doing, so you don't have to go and listen to Tim and you know how absurd every single thing he just says is. You can subscribe to the Substack at Karlyn, Karlyn, .substack.com. You can sign up for $8 a month, $80 a year. And if you support my work now, you are helping me stay in the top of the bestsellers in U.S. politics rising list on Substack. I'm currently number 17. I would love to get to I would love to break the top 10. That'd be pretty rad. So if you have not yet, this is why we watch. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. If you have not yet signed up, sign up today. Help me get into the top 10. That would be awesome. All right, that's all I'm going to do for today, guys. We do have another show coming up at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be doing Disenraged tonight, which is not a politics show at all, but it is on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. But for right now, I got to go pack a suitcase because I'm getting on a plane tomorrow to go to a secret, undisclosed location. But I'll be back at 9, and I'll talk to you guys then. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you soon.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.